Roll call, Ms. Lemus?
Member Thomas?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
Member Plancarte?
Here.
Vice President Jones? Here. President Hill?
Here. Okay, moving on to 1.2, meeting practices and information. Members of the public may observe the meeting via the NUSD YouTube channel or in person at the NUSD boardroom. Spanish translation will be available via Zoom. Okay, going on to 1.3, public comment on closed session items. Do we have any public comment requests?
We do not have any public comment on closed session items.
Great. Okay. So moving on to recess to closed session. So in closed session, we'll be covering 5 items. 2.1, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code 54957.6, Subdivision A, Employee Organization, CSEA. 2.2, public employee appointment, employment, discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code 54957, Subdivision B1. 2.3, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, Subdivision D2 or 3, 2 cases, number 000510124 and number 000610124. And then finally, 2.4, student expulsion, Ed Code 48918, and 2.5, student expulsion, Ed Code 48918. And with that, we are recessing to closed session. at 7:05. And 3.1, report of closed session actions. There is nothing to report. So if we can all stand now and perform the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to 4.2, meeting practices and information. So members of the public may observe the meeting via the NUSD YouTube channel, live transmission on Comcast Channel 26, or in person at the NUSD boardroom. Spanish translation will be available via Zoom. The public will have the opportunity to address the Board of Education regarding non-agendized matters and agendized items with a live audio-only comment via Zoom with advance notice requested by email at publiccomment@newarkunified.org, a written comment by submitting a speaker card via email at publiccomment@newarkunified.org, or with a live in-person or with live in-person comments by submitting a speaker card with the executive assistant. And just quickly, I'm sorry, wrong one. Also, just as a reminder, our board meeting guidelines, so these are guidelines that we, the board, have adopted over the summer to keep our focus and to also model the type of environment that we would like to have during board meetings. So I will quickly read them. So number one, we will keep our focus on the best interest of our students. Number two, we will work towards that future, learning from the past. Number three, we will stay focused on our goals and avoid getting sidetracked. Number four, we will build upon the ideas of others and look for common ground. We will paraphrase for understanding. Number five, when we have a difference of opinion, we will debate the facts of the situation and avoid personal criticism. We will address processes, not persons. And then finally, we will respect differences. We will never dismiss or devalue others. Okay. So approval of the agenda, I believe, Superintendent, that you wanted to pull two items.
We would like to pull two items. We'd like to pull item number 13.2 and 13.6. 13.2 is the seal agreement. We've got a few questions on that we wanted to go back and make sure that we've got the past history and that we capture everything correctly. And so a few more questions on that. So we would like to bring that back at a future meeting. And the other one is 13.6. This is our Williams Uniform Complaint Quarterly Report, July 1st through September 30th. We left one item off. Although it's been resolved, we want to make sure that we accurately report. So we'll bring that back at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent. So if we could get a motion to approve the agenda absent 13.2 and 13.6.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda minus 13.2 and 13.6.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Member Plancarte and a second from Member Wen. Ms. Lemus, do we want to do board docs for this vote? Or do you have to key it in manually?
We could do board docs.
Okay, great. Oh, and I'm sorry. Students and student board member, how do you vote?
Yes.
Student board member Lee? Yes. Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay.
Great, thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to 6.1, student report. So Member Lee, Student Member Lee, would you like to share?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Good evening, Board, Executive Cabinet, and Community. Last Friday was Newark Memorial High School's food fair. We had 22 clubs participate, selling cultural foods like kimbap, lumpia, azulitos, pupusas, but also popular foods like Raisin Canes, root beer floats, and crumble cookie. Our Cougar groundbreaking happened on September 20th before our football game against Sequoia. I hope I am speaking for everyone when we are both relieved and excited to finally see this football field come to light after a very long time. In the game against Sequoia, Cougar spirit was at an all-time high as students shouted game chants for the football team who brought home the win of 26-13. Woo! Upcoming events in the month of October for the high school is the first one, New York Memorial High School invites your kids to our annual Cougar Camp, a time where your kids can come and play games. Your children will be in safe hands and they will be able to make great memories. And it will be on October 12th for children kinder to 5th grade, and it is $15 per child from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And next, our winter sports registration is currently open, but it will close on November 1st. Winter sports include girls and boys basketball, girls and boys soccer, as well as girls and boys wrestling. Lastly, I hope everyone drinks a lot of water for the heat wave this week. I just wanted to bring attention to our high school where our HVAC system is always malfunctioning. So the students at New York Memorial High School, including myself, will often have to freeze in one period and then be sweating in the next. However, I don't know if we have the money now, but I know I just wanted to mention with our new bond coming up, if it does get passed, I really want to urge our board to do the right research before approving our purchases, making sure that our products will give us the right service that we're paying it to do, like our HVACs. So thank you. This is the end of my board report. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Student Member Lee. Any questions from the board? And I just want to echo your sentiments, Member Lee, that I don't think that we've had really robust procurement practices in the past, and I don't think that we've gone out and surveyed vendors and done proper bidding procedures and also making sure that we have the right contracts in place to enforce performance. And that's why we have our new Associate Superintendent and Chief Business Officer. And I know that he has extensive experience in procurement, so looking forward to reversing the tide there. So, okay, so moving on to 7.1, Employee Organizations. So do we have NTA here? Ms. Villa, welcome.
Two things that I have on behalf of the NTA. Well, actually three, but board member Lee touched on the inside of high school. The inside, the classrooms do not have windows. Too hot, the air's not moving. It's not creating an environment for anybody to learn and know. So if we can make that prior. Thank you. In inquiring to our maintenance department about the HVAC process for reporting, it was told to us that the way that we negotiated and agreed upon is no longer the way we negotiated to report and solve these problems. We're not doing it that way anymore. So if we can get together and meet and talk about how we're going to get our teachers and students up at the high school taken care of, because it's too warm up there, and things work and then they don't work. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, moving on. In regards to textbook sufficiency, we still have 3 teachers in our district that do not have all of their benchmark curriculum. Okay, this same resolution was on the September 1st of 2022 agenda. It was pulled from the agenda for the board meeting because purchase orders don't count. Purchase orders, copies, photocopies. We're not saying we have textbooks for our kids if we have a purchase order. It's not a textbook. So again, just in elementary alone, 3 teachers still do not have all of their curriculum. They have very little of it, but we need to get that curriculum. Our teachers aren't using it if they don't have it. which leads me to the next item, our upcoming PD for elementary. Let me see here. It's a day with no students, and in regards to English, designated English language development, again, our teachers don't have all of the curriculum. This afternoon for teachers will be focused on designated English language development blocks with zero curriculum for some of our teachers, for all of our teachers. There's a component called the language companion. It's not a standalone curriculum for ELD. It's not. It's a supplement to the curriculum. So teachers don't have the full training on companion to begin with. So again, we're planning a day of professional learning on curriculum we don't even have, with professional development that we haven't even received yet. So our principals haven't seen the material either. There are site support. I mean, we are not in a position to be able to continue having professional development like this. Teachers sit there for 90 minutes and they walk away with something they can't use on Monday. So if possible, before the 7th, if we can get together and talk about what we are doing in our district for ELD. We haven't looked at our master plan since 2019, when SEAL came in. And before that, it was 1999 before it was looked at. So again, sorry, thank you. That's pretty much all I got, so thank you.
Ms. Fuller, before you leave, so just a quick question, just to get a little clarification. So regarding the AC issues, so you were mentioning that there's a change in process for reporting the issues?
Yes.
Okay. And who, or where did that come from? Do you know?
Teachers were told that instead of work orders, that office managers will be filling out an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. Okay. We will get back to
Thank
you.
you.
So the superintendent, I know she'll
I
have.
made some notes.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So do we have any representation from CSEA? Okay. And anybody from NUMA? Okay. So moving on to 8.1, public comment on non-agenda items. So first speaker, Ms. Angela Silvera.
Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I've been here, but I am a parent of 3 in Newark Unified. I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary schooler at Lincoln, who you're going to hear about tonight. But I'm coming to you with quite a few things that I want to bring up. One is last year I came to you about the tobacco retail resolution, and I was just kind of curious where we were on that, because at the last meeting that I went to, the student board member Joy brought up, can we just take initiative and do this immediately? And it was like, oh no, it's about to be summer, we'll do it later. So I'm hoping that that can be brought back up, as I'm aware that the city council is going to hopefully have it on their agenda on October 10th. But I still think Newark Unified could lead the way and have that amendment or a resolution ahead of them. Why not? Second thing is, I want to thank you and applaud you for the new middle school principal. He, I feel like, has taken the middle school up a notch, and I've been really pleased with how he has kind of taken the reign. But I want to encourage our board to keep him. I asked him, are you sticking around? This is so great what you're doing at our school. You're, making sure the kids are staying in line and making sure that everyone's doing their work, but are you sticking around? Because that's my fear. This district, you see a lot of turnover, and I'm just hoping that there can be, I don't know, incentives or some way to encourage him to stay. The third thing is actually back to the high school, and since I didn't hear it in Student Joy's report, I wanted to let you guys know that on the 11th and 12th, There's going to be a haunted arcade that the theater will be putting on. And I'm sharing because my son will be one of the tour guides. Apparently, you get a tour through a haunted experience, house experience, and you can do it multiple times. And then the drama club, Booster Club, is going to be having some carnival games afterwards. So I would encourage you all to show up. The last thing, which is near and dear to my heart and could be my last year at Lincoln, is that Lincoln, I just want to say, is one of the most amazing schools. I have been a parent at Lincoln for 10 years. This is my last year unless the district chooses to change Lincoln into a TK-8 school or some other way that it gets changed around. But I just want to tell you how amazing this small school is. Through these 10 years, we've had walkathons and spirit days. We've had field trips to science camp and Giants games, Hiller Aviation. There are turkey trots, young author events, choir, CWA, Breakfast with Santa, which is now called Winter Wonderland. There's just so much going on in this little community that has made my children feel safe, have made my high schoolers and my middle schoolers still say that's their school. I mean, there's so much pride in Lincoln Elementary that not only I have, but my children have for that school. And I just am so grateful that you guys do these spotlights, because I feel like it's so important for our community to get to see the different schools and to see what's out there. So thank you, and just want to thank you, and I'm grateful for Lincoln. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Silvera. And moving on to Parikshit Karnik.
All right, thank you. Good evening, board members. I'm PK. This is my first time here, so excuse me if I'm not following some protocol. I have two kids, a 6-year-old who is in first grade going to Lincoln, and a 2-year so potential Lincoln kid in the future, right? I want to start with thanking all the board members, all the Lincoln teachers and staff who work really hard every single day. As a parent, I want to show my support to one of the points that Angela mentioned, which was for Lincoln to become a TK-8 magnet school or a TK-8 school. I have some concerns about the ratings of the current junior high, the middle school, just like many other parents in Newark. I think we could really do with a good middle school in Newark. The ratings are not as good, and that is probably the #1 reason why I feel families are leaving Newark and sending their kids to Challenger. I know personally of at least 8 families, friends who went out of Newark, and middle school was the #1 reason for them moving out of Newark to a different city. And I really want that to stop and for all of us to stay here and build a good community here. I truly believe Lincoln is the best elementary school in Newark. Amazing teachers, great activities, and a very good mix of students. They focus on student growth both academically and at a personal level. And all the extracurriculum activities that Angela just mentioned a few minutes ago, right? That really helps introduce a lot of these new activities to kids. My kid has a real good time at Lincoln, and she really enjoys it, and I really wish that continues. I personally think a TK-8 Lincoln would help drive more families to Newark, retain existing families here, and also help the city grow and develop, because it's a chain, right? It all works together. I have spoken to many parents, neighbors, friends in the area in Newark, and everybody is really excited if the TK-8 would happen here, and they really are looking forward to this. And this includes parents who have 2-year-olds, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and they're like, yes, if this happens, we're all looking forward to it. I hope we can all come together and make this happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karnik. Mr. New?
Good evening. I feel like being in the tropics today. It's just so hot here. I just wanted to say a couple of words about transparency, and it's a good thing, I think. A couple of administrations ago, somebody or some group decided that we really didn't need any minutes. And I thought that was a mistake. Now, it is correct that the Brown Act only requires the actual voting, but I think having minutes is a good thing, that people have an overview of what happened in a meeting. So I'm so glad to see some actual minutes here back again, and keep it going. It's wonderful to see this work done. So that's number one. Number two is that a long time ago, same story, somebody decided to change the PAL, and when staff, employees retire or they leave, that their name was blanked out and replaced by a number. And as you probably know, some people were really against that, putting out arguments saying that neighboring districts don't do that. It's only Newark that does that. And to my surprise, that also was corrected. And not only that, I saw some additional information in the PAL, and great job. Because I think all we want to do is that all the reports that come to the board is that, first of all, we don't overwork our board members, because they, a lot of them have a lot of extra commitments, and what they want is executive summaries. What they want is reports that are rolling up all the essential elements so that they can make quick decisions. So again, that's also a great thing to see that happening. And then thirdly, I noticed that the contract for the servers, the Dell servers with the VMware, included all required documentation for, the piggyback contracts. So again, I think sometimes has to be said that if the district does some good things in terms of transparency and reporting, it's gotta be said. So great job, and just keep it going. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. New. And Ms. Lemus, are there any other comments online, et cetera?
No other comments.
Great, thank you. Okay, so moving on to public comment on agenda items. So, do we have any comments on agenda items?
We do not have any public comment on agenda items.
Great, okay. So then we're going to move on then to Superintendent Report 9.1. Superintendent?
Thank you. I've got just a couple of items here this evening. The first one is just on our webpage. We have posted our FAQs for the Measures O school bond. We think it's important for the community to know about what the actual facts are, and you can find information there about Measure O. It clearly identifies the things that we can talk about as a district, right? The actual things that actually occur there. And so we encourage our community to take a look at the FAQ page. This is not part of the actual school bond campaign. This is really just the facts about what the bond measure would do, and why the Board of Education chose to put this out to the community to make a decision. And so if you could spend a few minutes, and I encourage you to take a look at our webpage, take a look at the FAQs, and that's all I'm going to say about that particular piece. The other thing I'd like to share with you is yesterday we had a phishing scam that was done, and many of our employees were contacted via their personal cell phones. And in that contact, it called out that I was asking them to help me with something. And I just want to let you know that text message did not come from me. That was a phishing scam. It's part of our society anymore that we all get these different phishing things that happens on our cell phones, right? Whether someone says, hey, I've got a job for you, or hey, if you can help me out, I've got, I can, give you some extra money if you can do something here, right? And so I just want to remind people to be very careful when you get those messages. Make sure that you know the source. If it doesn't seem really accurate, or it doesn't seem like something that someone would actually do or say, please take time just to double check. And for those wonderful community members in our school district who did take the time. I really want to thank you. I'm sorry that you received that message, I hope in a future time that those will be things that we will not have to deal with, those kinds of nuisances that come with it. I know there's some new web tools that seem like it's helping with some of our cell phones. But again, I just encourage you to be, careful, be suspicious of text messages and emails that you may receive that just don't seem like they are part of our real business that we would do. So with that, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Superintendent. Moving on to 10.1, Lincoln Elementary School Spotlight Presentation. Welcome, Ms. Gallagher.
Good evening. All right. So my name is Amanda Gallagher. I have the privilege of being the principal of Lincoln Elementary School. Thank you all for allowing us to come tonight to highlight our school. A little bit before we get started in our slide presentation, I want to tell you a little bit about our school. We are 286 students strong. We have 37.4% free and reduced lunch, kind of highlights our economic diversity. 14% of our students are multilingual learners, and 21% of our students receive special ed support. So all of this, I'm sharing this right at the beginning because as we go through our slides and our presentations, this is going to explain where our focuses are this year and why our initiatives are what they are.
Looks like the file wasn't shared. The access.
Yeah.
Do you have so does somebody have a way to get on the phone and
Because
go?
the one I shared with you separately. I shared it last Wednesday, I promise.
One advantage of cell phones.
No. Okay.
It's weird, because we have it.
You have viewer access and editor access.
It's on the board agenda, and I just pulled it up.
Can you access it that way, Ms. Lemus? You just. Oh.
Okay. Try again. I'm just going to keep on hitting buttons on this phone until it works. Yeah. Woo, success number one. All right. All right. All right. So. Alrighty. All right. So it's a little bit early in the school year, so our data is still embargoed, so I can't talk to you about some of that yet. We have it internally, and eventually we're going to have some things to share that we're really proud of, and also those areas that we know we can improve. What I can share with you is our path to academic success and the baseline where we're starting this year. And so what you're looking at right here is our ELA data from the very beginning of the school year. You can see we have some growth to go, but this is our main focus for the school year. We have 36% of our students on or above grade level. We have 39% of our students 1 year below, and 24% 2 or more below, right? Below that, you can see our multilingual learner data, and you can see that's a little bit more skewed. We have a little bit more work to do for our English language learners. And so what we're going to do this year, this is our focus, and you can even tell on our board work in the back of kind of our plan. We're really focusing on ELA and improving these scores, and our targeted intervention to really break it down into tiered support for growth this school year. All right. So we have 3 initiatives that we're going to be following to do this. So not only are we focused on ELA, but we're focused on our multilingual learners, our English language learners. So really leaning into our new district adopted curriculum of Benchmark. Our teachers are using what they have, and I did not touch it. and really, diving in and really trying to embrace that new curriculum. We're also looking at our designated ELD instruction time and making that even more targeted and robust this school year. And then going back to some of the basics of that Tier 1 instruction, of that collaborative learning that we can do so we can have more student talk and help our English language learners grow. That's our first initiative, really ELs and ELA. Our second one is our academic support and enrichment programs. So during the school day, we work really closely with CWA, our district partner, to have acceleration and enrichment time 3 times a week for all of our students, kinder through 5th grade. So what that looks like is 40 minutes on each of those days. Our students get targeted small group instructions with up to 6 adults and up to 3 or 4 teachers, depending on the grade level group. So that really helps our students who have to fill in gaps, but also it gets that group that needs enrichment too, because we don't want to forget about all of our learners. So we're pushing them there. It doesn't end in school. After school, we've brought in a lot of enrichment. We've already started our choir and our taiko groups, but we'll be bringing back robotics, geography B, maybe even a spelling bee group. We're really excited about that. All those fun things will be starting probably this month, so we're excited about that. Last but not least, our focus on having a safe and inclusive environment for our students to learn in. Our goal this year is to get gold status in PBIS, and we're going to talk more about that in a slide or two forward. Okay. I was really hoping to get more pictures by Friday, so you see a little glimpse of there are things to come that didn't make it on here. But one thing I really want to focus on is our passion for building science literacy at Lincoln. So we've integrated hands-on learning by utilizing our outdoor spaces, including our garden, and forming partnerships with agencies like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency or Service. Miss Tia comes, she works with our upper grades. We go to the refuge right behind our school. We get outside. You can see our students there. That's this year. Getting out there, getting their hands dirty, picking up bugs, looking at skulls. They're excited about it. It's great. So we love seeing that. In the spring, we gathered information from our community, and you heard some of my family speak about that. We want to know what we can do to make Lincoln better. And so they expressed an interest in exploring STEAM further and possibly adding additional grades to our school. So all in exploratory phases. Like, we definitely need to collect more data and talk to all of our stakeholders, making sure we're doing the right thing for our community as a whole. But we're really dedicated to STEAM and science at our school. So you're going to be seeing more of that from us as the school year goes on. Okay. One of our biggest strengths at Lincoln is our community. We do a lot of things academically, but at the core of it, we are a strong community. So we lift each other up, we push each other to do our best, and we do that through PBIS. We're constantly talking about roaring at our school. We will remain safe, be responsible, be respectful. We're not the only school with those expectations, but Lincoln, we bring a whole different kind of energy to it. So you can see some of our students this year that we've celebrated. You can see our winner chicken dinner statue winners, right? So we stopped handing out little papers where we write messages on them, and we just give them a raffle ticket every time we catch them being an amazing leopard, right? Whether they're being a good friend, whether they've pushed themselves extra hard in class, whatever it is, here's a raffle ticket. At the end of every week, they turn in those raffle tickets. We draw one, they get that statue. They get a little, we partnered with Dave's Hot Chicken, so they get a little gift certificate to go with their chicken statue, our winner statue, and we celebrate them for just being an awesome leopard. And then they get to go to the PBIS store and everything with that. So really embracing that. But not only that, our teachers too. So you can see Miss Angelo's up there. Her fellow staff members are supporting her and the work she's doing and showing their appreciation. And we do that every month. So they have their own Not My First Rodeo statue that they get to keep for the month. So really building each other up, celebrating how we support each other. But not just that, we've moved it to academics as well. So you can see our football field. We've embraced football this year. Do we know anything about football? Not really. We're not starting any football teams, but we've embraced, football this year. So we had our own little NFL draft. Each school or each classroom drafted a NFL team. Sometimes it's based on color. One group chose the Browns because they thought they were a safe team because their little mascot picture is a helmet. And they're like, we like them. They prioritize safety, which is fabulous. We're like, yes. But what we do with our draft is we have a football field in our office, and every month we have a challenge. The first month was just, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. Oh, doing 50 iReady lessons. Just get online and do those iReady lessons. So they're not competing with each other necessarily, they're competing with themselves to meet that goal. This month, it's minutes on iReady reading or minutes reading at home, learning the letters of our name if we're in TK, so you can see that tie back to our ELA goal, right? But we do that to push ourselves and push each other, and we celebrate when we make our goals without putting anyone else down. And so that is our strength at Lincoln. We are a community of learners, and we are proud of that. All right. Another one, we were so close with the pictures here. So we have all kinds of events. You are all welcome at any of our events. We'd love to have you out there with us. Every month we do a pep rally, and we celebrate our growth in our social skills, perfect attendance, and as soon as we get some more data with our benchline, our benchmark and our iReady, we'll be celebrating our growth there, right? So we are always looking at growth. We just finished our Apex Leadership Fun Run. Apex comes, they do 2 weeks of leadership programs in our class with our students, so we're growing as leaders, and then it's a fundraiser. At the end, they got to slime me, and they got to run. Those were the pictures you could have seen, but we didn't make the cutoff. Oh.
Lemus, and she will get those to the board because we do want to see those.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the sliming.
Oh, it's online. It's online. You can view it. It's glorious. But we have a lot of fun events coming up. I highly encourage you to join us for Special Olympics soccer. Our SDC class has been practicing every day at recess. The paraprofessional is donating his time to go coach them. They're ready to take on the other schools. So that's coming up at the end of this month. Spooktacular. It is not led by PALS. It is led by our leadership students. So our 5th graders are leading that. Come on out for that. Ruby Bridges Walks to School Day and our Turkey Trot. And we have a lot more going on, but please check out our calendar. Like I said, you are always invited. And then last but not least, thank you. Thank you not only to all of you, but to the team that's sitting behind me, the team that's up there. They are the ones that make our school great. And so we really appreciate you and them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher. And before I open it up to the board, I just would like to let you know that Associate Superintendent Williams is available for football consultation and coaching if needed.
We have the jerseys, right? We have the jerseys, so we're ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So questions from the board?
Yeah.
Member Wen?
Hi, Principal Gallagher. How are you?
Oh, a little bit better this year. Every year I get better at the public speaking, so yay.
Thank you for coming here tonight and
Oh, anytime.
presenting. Thank you to your hardworking staff and dedicated teachers, and for all the hard work that you guys have continued to give to our students every day. We really appreciate you and everything that you have provided in leadership to your staff, so thank you. And can you please tell us a little bit about the back wall?
Oh, yeah. So without even intending to, I just ask our team to share work that they want to, show the community that they're proud of. So they didn't even know kind of the focus of my presentation tonight. And with that, they still focused on STEAM, language arts, and our community, right? So on our STEAM side, you can see our 1st graders' work where they looked at clouds and the sky and weather. You can see our 3rd grade where they did animal adaptation, so they're looking at chameleons there. In the center, you can see projects done around the book Hatchet. Our benchmark, our whole first unit in 5th grade was about corn, and so we have some specialists now. And so you see some of their reports on corn back there, just different writings that are going on. And then on the left, just some visuals of our community.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Member Thomas?
Well, I would just like to add to Ms. Wynn's comments about how wonderful you and your staff have been running your programs. Your enrichment programs after school are spectacular with taiko, drumming, and all the various activities. So congratulations. And one thing I noticed is your focus on ELA and the fact that I did a little work on the spreadsheet, and 90% of your students have taken the iReady test. So, your data is valid. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Anything?
Other questions, comments?
Well, I'd definitely like to echo my fellow board members here on all of the staff, all the excellent staff that's there at your site, yourself included as their leader. But then I also wanted to take a moment to celebrate truly the community. That's really an integral and key piece to ensuring that the culture that you build, that they help drive it too, because they're also a very, very important piece of it all. So thank you to the community as well.
Agreed. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher. Great. Okay, so moving on to ACOE approval of NUSD local control accountability plan and adopted budget. Superintendent?
This is really a non-action item, but I did want to provide you with some context from the county office with regards to our budget and our LCAP. And just it's a memo that was given to our district and to our Board of Education, acknowledging the work that's gone into our LCAP and into our budget, and areas that, of course, that we had already noted that we are already concerned with our multiple-year projections, but also what our plan is. And I think they're happy to see us moving in the right direction from what was captured here. So this is just for your information.
Thank you, Superintendent. Questions from the board? Okay, moving on. 11.1, Resolution 242510, Week of the School Administrator. And do we want to read this? Great, okay. So if everybody can pull up the copy and,
We have to vote on it first.
oh, sorry. Okay, so the recommendation, recommendation is the Board of Education approves Resolution 2024-2510, Week of the School Administrator, to honor Newark Unified School District administrators during the second full week in October 14th through the 18th. And Superintendent, do you want to add anything before we open up to the board for any questions?
Just a few comments. I just really want to show my appreciation to all of our school administrators. This has been an extraordinary year. There's a lot of changes to our leadership, and I want to thank our seasoned leadership that helped, and I want to thank our new leaders that stepped into new roles to be able to really help support our students, our teachers, our support staff. They have been extraordinary in trying to bring a very positive new direction and putting people first. And I couldn't be more proud to help serve on behalf and with them every single day.
Great, thank you, Superintendent. And before we open this up for a vote, are there any questions from the board? Okay, and so, yes, we do. Yeah, and just to echo the superintendent, I mean, I think that a key part of the good start that we're off to this year are the administrators, both pre-existing administrators that we have, and then a number of the new ones that we brought in. And so we'll definitely want to recognize their contributions. So with that, Ms. Lemus, we should ask the student board member first how she votes before we open it up on board docs.
Shall we have the motion first?
I'm sorry.
I move
got
that we approve the Week of the Administrator resolution.
I'll second.
So Member Thomas moves, Vice President Jones seconds. And if we want to pull the student member before we vote?
Student Board Member Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Member
Lehman.
Tom?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask that the second be given to Member Joy. Because we both second at the same time. So I'd like to give that to her. so that she gets the recognition for that.
I'm glad
Oh,
we're able to
thank
avoid an
you.
arm wrestling match, so thank you, Vice President Thomas, for that. Jones.
Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay. And Student Board Member Lee, yay.
Great, motion carries. So now, let's all open up the resolution and read. And if we could go, each line will have a board member read that line, and then we'll rotate. So, board member, if you wouldn't mind getting it kicked off.
Yes, I would love to. Week of the School Administrator. How many do I read? Just one by one?
Just going to read the first sentence.
Okay. Whereas leadership matters for California's public education system and the more than 6 million students it serves, and
Whereas school administrators are passionate, lifelong learners who believe in the value of quality public education, and
Whereas the title school administrator is a broad term used to define many education leadership posts, superintendents, assistant superintendents, principals, assistant principals, special education and adult education leaders, curriculum and assessment leaders, school business officials, classified educational leaders, and other school district employees are considered administrators, and
Whereas providing quality service for student success is paramount for the profession, and
Whereas most school administrators began their career as teachers, the average administrator has served in public education for more than a decade. Most of California's superintendents have served in education for more than 20 years. Such experience is beneficial in their work to effectively and efficiently lead public education and improve student achievement, and
Whereas public schools operate with lean management systems. Across the nation, public schools employ fewer managers and supervisors than most public and private sector industries, including transportation, food service, manufacturing, utilities, construction, publishing, and public administration, and then you'll continue.
Oh, okay. Whereas school leaders depend on a network of support from school communities, fellow administrators, teachers, parents, students, business, community members, board trustees, colleges and universities, community and faith-based organizations, elected officials, and district and county staff and resources to promote ongoing student achievement and school success, and
whereas research shows great schools are led by great principals and great districts are led by great superintendents. These site leaders are supported by extensive administrative networks throughout the state, and
whereas the state of California had declared the second full week of October as the week of the school administrator in Education Code 44015.1, and
whereas the future of California's public education system depends upon the quality of its leadership.
now therefore be it resolved by the governing board of the Newark Unified School District that all school leaders in the Newark Unified School District be commended for the contributions they make to successful student achievement.
Great. And I would just like to emphasize one of the statements that was there right at the top of the second page, saying that research shows great schools are led by great principals and great districts are led by great superintendents, and we're fortunate to have people in both categories. So, all right. So, okay. So moving on to it's consent agenda now. All right, so does anybody want to pull the personnel report? Okay, so can I get a motion to approve consent agenda personnel items?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, so Member Plancarte moves, Vice President Jones seconds. And by the way, there has been some confusion over whether the student member votes on these particular items, and we actually have a call into, we don't have a call into, we've spoken with Lou Lozano, our attorney, and he is putting together formal guidance, and that will be delivered on probably the November 5th meeting. So we'll get clarity around that. But I would say that for right now, since the tradition has been that we don't have you vote on that, we won't have you vote on it today.
Online voting is open.
Question first.
Yes, actually, I didn't pull it, but I just wanted to know, I noticed that the band teacher was hired. Is there a date, a start date?
It will be as soon as we get his fingerprints cleared, which should be within the next 7 to 10 days at the max.
Okay, great.
If
Thank
not
you.
earlier, yep.
Another victory for Mr. Williams. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're definitely ready to vote now.
What band instrument did you play, Mr. Williams?
I can sing if you like. Oh my God. No, you would not like.
Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay.
Great, thank you, Ms. Lemus. Motion carries. Moving on to consent agenda, non-personnel items, and the superintendent has already pulled 13.2 and 13.6. Does anybody want to pull any additional items for discussion? Okay, so can I get a motion to approve 13.3 through 13.5 and then 13.7 through 13.26?
I'll make a motion to approve 13.2 through 13.5 and 13.7 through 13.26. 6.
Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so Vice President Jones moves, Member Plancarte seconds. And do we need to do a roll call vote, or can we do it through board docs?
We could do it through board docs.
Great, okay.
She has got this nailed now. I was all prepared. You need to ask for student member.
I'm sorry, we need to ask the student member how she votes as well.
Member Lee, how do you vote?
Yes. Going forward, just anything under consent agenda, personal items, those are the only things I can't vote on. Everything else, I should be asked to vote for.
Yeah, so we're asking Mr. Lozano to provide
Okay.
a legal
Okay,
guidance on that. So that's gonna be delivered on November 5th.
thank you.
Great.
Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay. And Student Board Member, yay.
Motion carries. Okay, so moving on to item 14.1. So this is agenda area student expulsion for number 14. So 14.1, reentry and completion student expulsion case number E2324-04. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve 14.1.
Okay, so
I'll second.
Vice President Thomas moves, and Member Thomas moves, Vice President Jones seconds. And I believe that this is an item that the student member does not vote on.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Online voting is open. Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay.
Great, motion carries. Moving on to 14.2, reentry and completion, student expulsion case number E2324-07. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve 14.2.
I'll second.
Vice President Jones moves, Member Plancarte seconds. And again, this is an item that the student member does not vote on.
Online voting is open. Member Thomas, yay. President Hill, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Plancarte, yay.
Great, motion carries. Moving on to item 15.1, Board of Education Committee reports, announcements, requests, debrief, and discussion. And why don't we start with the student member?
I do not have anything.
Okay. So moving on to Member Thomas.
I would hope that maybe the board could get a report on what you find out about the missing curriculum materials that the NTA mentioned. Other than that, I have no requests. Just a big thank you to all staff for all the hard work you're doing. And the year is off to a great start. Appreciate it.
Member Nguyen.
Thank you, President Hill. First and foremost, I'd just like to apologize to Member Jones for not being able to make the SELPA meeting last minute. She was counting on me and I let her down because I was pulled into a last minute meeting at work, and sometimes that happens for me, and I apologize. I wasn't able to make it. Huh? Okay, thank you. But I would have loved to be a part of SELPA. I've been to meetings before, and they're always, it's a wonderful community to, to be a part of. So just wanted to add that. And then I have two requests. One request is, the first request is an update on the fence for Kennedy. I know that we were supposed to start work on it over the summer, and I think families were expecting it to be completed. So is there any progress? Because I was over there over the weekend, walking in that area, and I did not see much work being done. So I just wanted to, I wanted to see if we can get an update on the progress and the expected completion date, if possible. Okay, awesome. And then second, I think there needs to be clarification around graduation date and ceremony. So if we can get that, that would be great. I know that I've heard, especially from my own child who's graduating this year, how she feels about the date change or possible date change. So has graduation date, has it been set?
We're working on it.
Okay. And lastly, I just wanted to thank and recognize Councilmember Jorgens for his participation in working with our band students. And he has been actively participating at football games and playing with them. And I thought that was so awesome of him to be able to do that with our students, knowing that, you know, the band has been student-led since the beginning of the school year, and he has really taken upon himself to really extend his knowledge to our band students. And I just wanted to say thank you so much, Councilmember Jorgens. Your commitment to our students and our community really resonates with our students and myself and the rest. And I would like to speak on behalf of the board and say that it resonates with them too as well. And just thank you. And then lastly, again, thank you to all of our wonderful staff, teachers, and obviously our community members, our parents, and partnership who that has been making this school year a wonderful year so far. And I've heard from our own administrators and teachers on campus that there is really something different about this year. And I think the kids are actually starting to fully recover from the effects of the pandemic, and they have been really coming together. And I have seen it in a lot of the kids at the high school too, the camaraderie, the team spirit, and just really trying to lift each and every one of us up. Occasionally, yes, are there those fights or, you know, negative aspects that happens? Yes, but I think there's a lot more positivity that's been coming out of the high school and the middle school and all the elementary schools. And this year feels different, and it feels brighter, better. And I just wanted to really make sure that that echoes and resonates with families too in the district. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Nguyen. Member Plancarte?
I don't really have any updates other than I just did want to thank my fellow board member, Member Nguyen, and then also Tracy for all of the behind-the-scene work that happens on the bond after hours. It's been a lot. And then also, I do want to acknowledge also Member Thomas and Member Jones, because they've also been key critical contacts a lot of times to help us continue to move forward so that we can get everything tightened up and done in time. And I really appreciate the drive to help source volunteers, because we're really going to need them. We are in dire need of ensuring that we can get as many people out there spreading the word, helping to talk up about the bond, and hopefully we do get it passed, because really our schools are in dire need of repairs and renovations. And also speaking of repairs and renovations, I also just wanted to echo a little bit about what was talked about at the very beginning. Student member Joy brought it up, and Ms. Villa brought it up about the HVAC system, and also if we could just, I know that there's a lot of issues that need to be ironed out there, and I think that it's key that our staff, if there has been a change in process, that the staff at least understands what that is, because my understanding is the feedback that we've received many times is that a work order is put in to go and have something repaired, and then somehow the communication is lost in translation, and then we are left with classrooms that are not equipped to serve our students during their learning. And I just have to say that last year I went to one of the back to school nights, and it was probably during one of the hottest days at the beginning of the school year. And I just sat in to listen to the teacher's presentation, and she had a number of fans going on in that classroom because she'd been having issues with the AC in her classroom. And as an adult who was actively trying to participate and listen, it was really difficult for me to hear what she was saying. And I can only imagine the learning loss that happens in our classrooms when these kiddos, the younger kiddos, whether they're in elementary, middle school, or high school, they've got a lot on their mind as well, and a lot of times maybe they're not actively listening, and so there's this distraction. And so if we could really buckle down and help support where we can, do our best, ensure that the communications lines are not broken, ensure that staff knows exactly who to reach out to and that there is a connection and that there isn't a disconnect there where nobody's reaching back. I also think that that really impacts morale. And I think that's something that, could be helpful as well because they're doing so much to support our students, our classrooms, and we should be able to also at least have direct lines of communication and provide them with their resources so that they can understand what they need to do and what the steps are. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Plancarte. Student member?
I just remembered a couple words I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all our school administrators at all our school sites and here also. Really just thank you for everything you do to make our school be a school. Second of all, what I wanted to ask was about our tobacco resolution that was brought up earlier. Do you guys have any updates on it that I may have missed?
I do have an update from the city. Right. I do have an update from the city council, and I can share that with you.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you. Member Jones or Vice President Jones?
Yes, I have one question. I know that last time I asked about a Puente presentation, and just hoping that that is still in the works to come to us. I'm really interested in hearing more about the program and the specific qualifications that the students would need to have to be a part of that. The other thing that I wanted to share was I get the CSBA daily updates, which at times is really overwhelming if I don't read them on a daily basis. I think I've got about 30 right now that I need to go through, and I went through a good 30 the other day. So if I go on vacation or I forget about it, I'm way behind. But anyway, I came across and I'm just going to read a snippet of it. About bilingual teachers on September 14th. This article was in there, and it's called A Need Unacknowledged. And I'm literally going to just read part of it. A 2021 report from the Comprehensive Center Network found an ongoing shortage of bilingual education teachers in public schools could be impacting the educational future of millions of students. Some bilingual education teachers say they love the profession but are frustrated by the lack of resources and assistance they receive. More than half of the states across the country have bilingual teacher shortages, and many of the schools impacted are the districts where the need is greatest. And this last sentence just really struck me because we're not alone in having a difficult time finding bilingual teachers for us this year. We're not alone. It's across the country that this issue is reoccurring. And the report also says that they found that not only compensation or incentives, but recruiting, training, certification, and teacher retention are major roadblocks. In addition, the amount of content or subject matter, such as math, science, or social studies, that is taught in either language depends on the model being used and by the state's requirement for English language learners' instruction, which varies widely across the country. And I'm going to stop there, but I just felt like it was something I wanted to acknowledge, that it's not just Newark, it's not just the Bay Area, it is all across the country that that this teacher shortage really is occurring. And someday I hope that somebody comes up with a magical idea of how to encourage more people to get a credential that are fluent in 2 languages. So anyway, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Vice President Jones. I would like to just again thank the Lincoln community for coming, and it was great to see everybody, and I thought that Ms. Gallagher's report was wonderful, and I love the fact that she actually started out with student achievement, and because again, that's the area where we really need to continue to focus, and so it was great that she did that. And my question to the superintendent is, I think it would also be great, we had a parent mention the fact that there have been concerns in the past about the middle school, but we've also had parents here talking about how they're really seeing big changes in the middle school. And I think it would be wonderful for the new principal to come and tell us a little bit about what's going on there. And so I'm not sure about the priority, the rotation, but I would appreciate it if we could have him come sooner rather than later. And also, given that we've had some changes going on in Schilling, I think it would be wonderful to hear what's happening there. But again, I don't want to interrupt your rotation, so that's just a request. Okay, and with that, Superintendent?
Thank you. Actually, I'd like to bring a little bit of clarity to some of the things that were brought up earlier this evening. I think we can maybe address some of the things here this evening. Assistant Superintendent Karen Allard is going to share with you a little bit about the curriculum and the state of our curriculum for the missing items. So, Ms. Allard?
Thank you. I want to thank Sherry for bringing this to your attention tonight. The implementation of the benchmark curriculum has been challenging, to say the least, with 23 pallets being delivered and 2 of our IMC workers who worked endlessly to get that out. We had some flaws in how much curriculum was ordered with the change of DLI, and teachers who were supposed to be teaching in Spanish were now teaching in English. That also caused a shift in it. We realized that there was some of the errors in the ordering as well. We've talked to the vice president of the company. We were supposed to get a final shipment at the beginning of last week, and then the hurricane happened, and that's where their warehouse is on the East Coast. So that is what's causing the delay in this last shipment. It is apologies to the teachers, because we know that they need their curriculum so that students are getting the best materials that they possibly can.
Thank you. And then just out of curiosity, is this new curriculum? It's new curriculum, right?
This is the new K-5 literacy curriculum.
Great, thank you.
The last thing I want to kind of just go back and address is the concerns regarding our HVAC systems. Since I've come to Newark, this has been a huge challenge, and I'm not making excuses. I will tell you, our systems are under-engineered for what we need for capacity. Let me just say that. They are under-engineered for what we need for capacity. Some of it was done, I think, as a cost savings of money and to try to get as many units put into our school sites as possible. And the district also chose to go for a like-for-like model. The other models, although they had an instant trigger that teachers could control inside their classroom, the newer models for energy and conservations that we have to follow by the law when we replace these don't allow for the automatic switches. So it's like on a timer, right? So you have a window, and you might even have this in your home, like where you've got certain settings, right? There are some overrides that can be done, but it's very difficult to do on a case-by-case basis. It's easy to do as a system-wide kind of a thing for us to be able to manage. Additionally, there's some other things that went extremely wrong with the purchase of the units that we have. And I'm just going to be frank about this because it's concerning. And I think if we don't talk about it and don't discuss the problems that we have with them, the simple repairs aren't enough to fix it. I'm just going to say that to you. And they're expensive. Again, the units are exactly like for like, so that means the size of the unit and the capacity it puts out is the same. However, they also work with an environmental control, and that controller sends a signal to the air conditioning system that sometimes overrides the actual climate that's going on. So it works with some outside environment pieces, and it works with inside environment, and kind of has a struggle there. Our units actually have 2 signals that actually work. So they have 2 controllers that actually sometimes contradict each other. That doesn't help. One is actually manufactured by the air conditioning system, and the other one is a different system that talks to our software system for how we work. And sometimes those things don't work well together. They almost have, like, one will cancel the other out, and that creates some of the problems. We've also had some issues with some of the technology intersects that happen with the internet being able to connect to our units. So sometimes units go out just because we have internet issues that causes some of the problems within the software being able to work well together. Again, the air conditioning units now require software to make them work, where the old units didn't really do that, right? They were a simple switch. So those are somewhat problematic. The other thing is the majority of our units at one point were ordered just before the pandemic. They arrived during the pandemic and then sat outside for more than a year. Our community saw that. They were sitting out there at the middle school. They looked like, I mean, I saw pictures of them. There's tons of them that were sitting out there. I mean, literally hundreds of units sitting out there that were not being installed, and they sat there for more than a year. That did two things. One, the environment, with it not being installed, might have created some havoc, right, with us not knowing if there were problems with the units, because of the time that we received them. It's possible that some of the parts, because of supply and demand, may not have been the parts that we would have hoped that might have been installed. So sometimes like a chip system might be maybe substandard because they were trying to do mass productions or they were trying to source those things. The plastics that they might use might not have been the same standard that we maybe would have normally expected before the pandemic. So those are some of the challenges that we had there with that. And then the last piece, which really has been the bigger piece of the problematic element, is I think the district was really short-sighted in not buying a warranty. And I'm just going to call it out. We have no warranty. That means every time a unit needs to be fixed, we're calling out experts to help us do that. We've been looking for an air conditioning technician. We've been looking for years and have not found one. Therefore, we end up having to call out a service to be able to sit there and meet those demands. And you can imagine classroom by classroom that has issues, it's hard to get that kind of relationship out there fast enough to be able to make something happen so that your classrooms are cooler. It's truly concerning. I can't imagine what it must be like for some of our classrooms that don't have adequate airflow systems in them. When I say not adequate, we seem to be lacking a lot of windows in many of our school sites, right? Or else they just really aren't conducive to being able to open up. Sometimes I think teachers and students open up the door thinking fresh air is going to help cool off their room faster, but because of those environmental controls, when we do that, it then somehow picks up a moisture level that sometimes doesn't allow us to do the cooling, the piece that comes with it. This is a very complex systems that were installed, and the new systems today that are used for air conditioning are very complex just in general, whether they're the new ones that go into your homes or the new ones that are in our schools. Again, it's not a great report to give. It's kind of an embarrassing report to give. And the fact that we really just didn't buy the right HVAC systems that we really need to be able to cool down our classrooms. So moving forward, we are working on some initiatives about what do we need to do to improve it. Doing nothing doesn't help us, right? Doing nothing means that we're waiting for an air tech guy to come out from a company that we have to hire, and that gets to be expensive. So we have to come back with an action plan. And we will be bringing that back to our board later on this year because we really are concerned about the HVAC systems throughout our school district. So I think it's important just to be honest about what's going on with it.
Thank you, Superintendent. And for those that are here in the boardroom, I've seen them waving their fans and their pieces of paper. And so for those people that are maybe watching remotely, it's hot as hell in here as well. And so we're all sweating up here. But I would like to ask a favor of the board that can we commit to leading by example, and that we here in the boardroom are the last to have any air conditioning units installed or solutions, that we make sure that they're installed in all the classrooms first. And I can't imagine that people would object to that, but I'm hoping that we could get sort of an affirmative nod.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, yes.
And as hot as it is now, a few months from now when it's really cold, it's going to be really cold in here too, because we have no heat. And I realize many of our classrooms are in the same situation because it's the same unit that works for both the air conditioning and the heat system, right, to be able to push the airflow through. So, again, I recognize the challenges. I really do appreciate the feedback from all of our teachers. We are working on some ways to be able to try to respond, and the reason I think we've moved to an Excel spreadsheet is to kind of help us by how many room numbers might there be, so that when we bring out the service, we're able to address a grouping of rooms at that school site versus just class by class as an individual.
Makes sense.
But related to that, if we could just, whoever's whoever's in charge of that, if we could just make sure that they orient the various users so that they understand the process, that would be great.
Yeah, I can appreciate that too. I'll talk with Assistant Superintendent Quintana.
Great. Okay, any other items, Superintendent?
No, that's it for this evening, and thank you so much.
Okay, so let's see here. So it's 8:25. I'm wondering if I could get a motion to extend until 2 o'clock this morning, because I understand that Mr. Williams has a whole repertoire of songs that he would like to sing. So if we could get a motion. Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so Vice President Jones moves, and student member seconds. And can we, and student member, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, and if we can do our Word docs.
Online voting is open.
What time is the meeting adjourned?
I will.
Member Thomas.
So, Member Thomas, you need to, Member Thomas, you need to vote. It's on.
Oh, yes, aye. We thought it was over. Yay. No, I just turned it back on.
She voted.
Okay, Student Board Member Lee, yay. Member Plancarte, yay. Vice President Jones, yay. Member Nguyen, yay. President Hill, yay. And Member Thomas, yay.
Great. So motion carries, and meeting is adjourned at 8:26 PM. Thank you.